Welcome to Stitch and Spill, where we crochet our days away. Today we'll be answering the questions: why are my stitches so loose? Why are my stitches so tight? Why is my tension inconsistent? Why are my stitches uneven? So I received 2 comments on 2 different videos about this topic. One comment said, "Your stitches are so even. I have a really hard time with this. Maybe I should stick with knitting." The other comment said, "You may want to choke up on your yarn because your stitches are uneven." And I'll tell you why both of these people are right. They're both right. So the 3 things that may impact your tension are: 1, your materials; 2, how you handle your materials; and 3, your body. Let's dig in. For starters, I have a few different types of yarn here, 3 hooks, and I'm gonna pull out a label for this first piece. So the hook. Your label will typically recommend a hook size to you. Here it is. It's a G for my fine or sport weight yarn. You want to check out the recommended hook size on your label to test out your pattern. And if you are finding that your stitches are too tight, switch to a larger hook. And if they're too loose, use a smaller hook. So that's that about hooks. Yarn. For yarn can be tricky to work with depending on its weight, its texture, and even its color. Looking at anyone who's trying to start off with black yarn can be really tough to see where you're supposed to put your stitches. So try working with different types of yarn. Test it out to see how it feels and how you will be working with it. Is your yarn stripping? Meaning, are the individual threads coming apart very easily? Will it be hard to see where my stitches go? Again, black yarn. And how much am I going to fight with this yarn down the line? With this example, I may go up a hook size, more than recommended, just so that I know I can grab the whole piece of yarn. So the practice of testing your hook and your yarn, and for hook, I should also mention different types of hooks. So these are metal, but this one's plastic, and there are even wooden ones. If you're a righty or a lefty, different things may feel different to you, right? So test out your materials. Crocheting a small square is probably the best way to do this before you work on a project, and that is called swatching. So you use swatching to test out your gauge, or the number of stitches and rows that you'll need, and to estimate your yarn, how much yarn you're going to need, and what the best hook for the project is. So we do want to swatch if possible. Now, how you handle your materials. So our inclination is to choke up on both our yarn and our hook when we kind of start off, the illusion of control, right? So it's kind of like driving. You choke up on your steering wheel, hoping that you'll have more control over your car, when in reality, the opposite is true. You want to be loose and you want to be flexible, right? So make sure that you're finding your balance. What's loose and flexible to you? And find ergonomic materials. So again, with the hooks, there are hooks that are thicker. There are hooks that have more padding. There are hooks that may feel better to you. So find materials, good ergonomic materials that feel good to you. And lastly, your posture and your level of fatigue can also contribute to tension issues. Everything is connected. So you want to make sure that you take breaks, you relax your shoulders, relax your wrists, relax your hands, relax your fingers. Try exercises and even stretches that will strengthen your hands, wrists, shoulders, and your back. And here's a freebie that I am personally tied to and connected with. Your eyes. We spend so much time on devices and we don't give our eyes breaks, and that could also be impacting your stress level and your level of tension when you start to work on your craft. So why are my stitches tight? Why are my stitches loose? Why are my stitches inconsistent? It's your materials, how you handle your materials, and your body. How do I work on my tension? How do I control my tension? We want to practice. We want to experiment with different hook sizes, experiment with different types of yarn, experiment with different techniques for how to hold the materials, how to work with the materials, and find what works best for you. We want to take regular breaks to avoid fatigue and to maintain consistent tension. And lastly, we want to give ourselves grace.